Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you once again for joining us for our 1 hour of encouragement. We come on every third Monday of each month. I am your host, Dr. Cassie Ward, and here we are again having 1 hour of encouragement with our special guest, Martina Britt Yelverton. And she is a lovely woman. So I want her to tell a little background of who she is, where she's from. And as I had always told all my guests, you can be as transparent as you would like to be. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my goodness, before I even get into telling any of that, thank you so much, Pastor Cassie, for having me here on today. I know we are broadcasting live, and hopefully I get an opportunity to get some feedback. This is very casual, correct?
Yes,
What I
it is.
understand. And thanks by you, Lifestyle Training, for being with us on today as well. Running the cameras for us and doing what it is that she does so well. Citizen Elizabeth Yelverton.
Yay.
Excited to have her in the building and continuing to walk in whatever God has gifted her to walk in to as well. So I know I was running a promo video on mine. So did the promo video wrap up? Go ahead and run that promo video right now. Background on myself. That's crazy.
I know, we know ourselves until someone actually asks us to tell something about ourselves. And then it's like our mind goes blank.
Mhm.
But it's our story.
51 years in August.
Oh, awesome. August what day? It's the 3rd.
August 3rd.
My mom is August the 19th.
Mhm. So she's still in the Leo realm?
Yeah, she's still Leo. And she'll be 78.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I love it. When you think about that, being almost 51 years old, being in, this 50-50 year that I'm going through, it's crazy because you don't realize it's 5 decades. You don't realize it until your little boppity 16-year-old says it. You don't realize that you've been doing whatever it is that you've been doing for 50 years. And it's awesome. It's been a beautiful journey. It's been a crazy journey. I'm sure we'll go through the ups and downs, the high and lows of that. But a little bit of my background is that I was born in North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, raised between Goldsboro, North Carolina, and Raleigh, North Carolina. My mom was a fearless Aggie, and she graduated, did her thing, and brought me, on over to Goldsboro when she launched herself into her nursing career. And the beautiful thing about my journey that I didn't realize for a long time was that I was raised with entrepreneurs.
Oh, awesome.
My grandmother and my grandfather worked out of their home, bricks, floors, and TV repair. So that really blows me away when I started into the entrepreneurial journey of my life and realized I think from about age 2 up until about age 12. So that's about 10 years. For about 10 years, I was immersed in the entrepreneurial day-to-day activity and didn't know it. So no wonder it was so hard for me to stay on the job.
Because I already birthed inside of you.
It was already in there. It was already in me. And having that and going through that, it really, once you realize, because you don't realize it when you're going through it, you don't realize it when you're having your own children, you don't realize, the significance of things you go through as a child yourself until God opens that part up to you to really recognize everything that's going on with you. And once I realized that that was a part of my journey, really that's where I feel like my back history got started. Not that I Single parent under the rug. Not that I sweep surviving domestic violence under the rug. Not that I sweep being homeless under the rug. Not that I sweep being in the welfare system under the rug. It's just once I realized what my purpose was, I feel like that's really where my journey starts. And so that's just a little bit of background on myself. I'm here in North Carolina, been back here since 1993. Between being born in 72 and 93, I did a stint about 7 years in Maryland. It was great.
This wasn't your passion.
It was not my passion. They are so busy.
Yes, they are.
They are so busy up north.
Very.
They are so busy. So it was weird being up there and immersed in that atmosphere for 7 years, finishing up high school, graduating and starting college. Because then when I came back home with my oldest son, it shocked me when people would say hello. 7 years of being up there, people don't speak a lot. So to come back home and be immersed in people who say hello, it was like, oh man, you don't realize how much you miss again until you're opened up to something different. So being back at home since 1993 has been absolutely amazing. And then even when we were driving out here, Jen was saying, it's so almost like destitute out here. The streets are so empty. I said, that's because folks at home.
Right. After 5 days off work, they trying to eat, get ready for the work day tomorrow.
I said, folks at home. Yeah. I said, this is, what we're used to. I said,
I don't know why they call it Wild Awake Wilson, because we're not
wide awake. Y'all
at all. At all. And I was in Durham for 20-some years, so to move back home, which Wilson is my hometown, and to move back here, and my kids like, oh my God, you sent us back here to die, almost like the children of Israel, There's nothing here. It really wasn't. Wow. But I knew it was my destiny for this moment to move back here. And again, I just want to let the people know that we are talking about singleness to success. So this is the Martina Britt Yelverton story. Wow, where she goes from a single mom to being a successful entrepreneur. Can I say it that way?
Yes, you absolutely can.
And then she's going to give a little bit of her back, like she said, her background of what she went through, how she found herself as a single mom, and now finding herself as the successful woman. Because I know it was not an easy journey. I know it was not something that you just woke up one day and said, hey, let me do this. So tell us a little bit about that story. How did you come from being singleness as a single mom to now being the successful entrepreneur that you are today? You have a total of 6 books?
Seven books, 4 of which have been a co-authorship, and then the other 3 are self-publishing. Okay. And it's been a journey, and my books tell a lot of the story. And anyone interested in walking through this journey, and I'll give all my information at the end, but all of this deals with helping people understand their own personal value. And not even knowing where to start. And it's so funny, I'm going through a journey right now where I am rebranding my brand agency. Okay. Because I'm realizing how much more important it is for me to be out and speaking and talking to other women, whether they're single or not, about their own personal value, not specifically being so engrossed into my first passion, which is graphics. And to start that journey and understanding that I tried to follow my mom's path of becoming a nurse. I don't like needles. And so that didn't work out so well. And so when I had to take that first class where you have to learn how to draw blood, I happened to be in my mother's class as the instructor. And when we were told to go and pick our partners, I chose my mom because I know my mom didn't want me to act a fool in her class. If someone sick me and I punch them, I just still had a street side. So yeah, in realizing that, I knew it was not for me. But in that, I did understand that, she had an idea for me, but I had my own path. And that helped me with my 4 kids, understanding each of them has their own path. And it's interesting because my 4 kids are split. I have 2 that are grown, one's married, and one is out into his own career. And then I have 2 teens. Okay. And they were raised completely different. So the older two were raised because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
And the younger two were raised, what do you say?
Right.
Okay, it's still because I said so, but I'll take into account what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't always go so well because you're giving them a voice.
Right.
And of course, when you give someone a voice, if it's in them to run with the voice, they will. And then I have to step in sometimes and be the because I said so parent.
Mm-hmm.
But it helps me understand their journey as well as my journey. And so going back to the very beginning of my journey, being raised with entrepreneurs, it helped me understand once I recognized why I didn't want to work a job. You know, it helps me understand now in rebranding my agency how much more important it is for me to get out and speak from my passion with my voice to help other people realize it's great that you have a job, but your job is not your work. Dr. Miles Monroe.
Wow, I'm going to say that, Dr. Miles Monroe. That's awesome.
Yes.
So say that again. We want you to hashtag. Make that statement again.
Your job is not your work.
Explain that to me.
Your job is whatever your skill set is. You know, your job is what pays the day-to-day bills. Your job is whatever is your 9 to 5. Your job is, you know, we understand, you know, 11 to 7 and there are other hours, but you get what I'm saying. Your job is that which pays the bills. Your job is meant to fund your dreams. Okay? And what I mean by fund your dreams is you were not sent here just to work a job.
I've been saying it all my life.
You were not sent here just to work a job. Right? You were born with a passion. You were born with a gift. You were born with a talent. That job really is where you practice that at.
Right.
You practice your passion, you practice your gift or your talent while on that job, right? And eventually you will outgrow that job unless you have figured out a way to tie your passion to that job.
Right.
You will outgrow that job, and that's good. That's a good thing because your passion is something you'll do whether you get paid for it or not.
Absolutely.
Your passion is something you'll do whether you get paid for it or not.
Absolutely.
So your job is not your work. Your work is what you were sent here to do. It's your gift or your talent or your passion or whatever it is that you were given to do. I put up a post today, and if you're not on Facebook, I understand people have Facebook phobia. I understand, but I put it up on Facebook. And it basically is from Dr. Miles Monroe, where he talks about become. If you can break down, Julian Gordon teaches us to break down the etymology of words. And if you become what it is that you seek, then you can be that. You know, they say, you have, you can be that. And you can do whatever it is you were purposed and passionate to do, so you can have whatever it is you want to have. Right. But if you don't become it first, you'll never be able to do it or have it.
Right. It's just like the scripture says, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Right.
And so whatever you think, whatever your passion, whatever you put into your mind to do, like you said, become it. You become. I am successful. So therefore I become successful because I'm thinking it. I'm saying that's what I am. And that kind of leads me to my next question for you. What scriptures or quotes or inspirational? I know Dr. Miles Monroe, you know, we both looked on him. I love his book. I love his teachings. But what scriptures or quotes or inspirational messages you have read throughout your journey that help you get to this point in life?
Well, I guess I'll say the first thing, going back to that post, a part of it, and I may misquote a little bit of it, but basically what it says is become known for something of value. People will pay you for it.
Right.
You know, I hate to say that we are in this microwave society, that we are in a world where we can become lazy, but if you become known for something of value, people will pay you for that.
Right.
Okay? And if you can wake up every morning with a vision is big for me. Wake up every morning with a vision of what it is that you want to do, where it is that you want to go. But don't be so hard stuck on it because your vision could be different than God's vision for you. But if you can mirror the two, go for it. But speaking specifically to who or what does or has inspired me, it's definitely Dr. Miles Monroe. And I've been on this journey probably 30 of the 50 years, just trying to understand, the word and what it means and this, that, and the third. But listening to him talk about vision, listening to him talk about purpose and passion, understanding, the clarity of don't listen to just what, people say, actually go study it for yourself.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. And really pay attention to the etymology of the words. You will be able to walk freely and understand and walk in your purpose and walk in your passion and move forward without questioning what it is. Because one of the things that post says, and I may have my daughter pull it up so I can read it, because it's very important, if you're not on Facebook and you don't follow me, that you go read and understand it. And if you don't follow Dr. Miles Monroe, I would suggest that you go ahead and follow him. He passed away in 2019,
19. So yeah, it's been a while.
It's like he's still here. And I didn't find him until after he passed.
Well, I knew of his teachers prior to, and I had through his books prior to. But you know how you just kind of glimpse at stuff and you move on. But then when you get older and stuff started hitting you differently, and you start really looking at your life like, okay, it has to be more to life than this. Then that's when I really began to really study a lot of his teaching, especially the one on finance. When he's talking about tithing, he has a great one on tithing, and he demonstrates. There's a couple of out on YouTube. He has one where he actually demonstrates the whole concept of tithing, and then he has the concept of leaving an inheritance for your children.
Right.
Like you said, all we ever thought about was working an 8-to-5 job, pay the bills. We got to do this. We got to try to get out of debt. We need to do this. We got a car payment. We got a mortgage. And that's really all we're focusing on. Never thinking about we're supposed to leave an inheritance for our children. It's not a life insurance policy either.
Right.
That's not what it's
inheritance is. Should I, could I? Right. The word says you are to.
Right. It's in the word of God.
This is what you're here to do.
Right. So yeah, he's an awesome one to really follow. If you, like you said, if you're not following him, YouTube him, go to the bookstore, buy his book. They're still out there. Amazon, you can get him. He is a great teacher and has a lot of good messages for people to really to follow.
And if you're in a position where affordability is an option, YouTube University is free all day. all day. And you can begin to position yourself to come up, to do better, to come up. And one of the other people you were asking, who all is it that I listen to? And I have to remind myself of Dr. And I call her doctor. You can let me know whether or not she actually ascended to that level. Maya Angelou, a lot of us call us Maya, where she says, believe people the first time.
Right.
When they show you who they are, believe them the first time. And don't self-doubt, don't question, believe them the first time and govern yourself accordingly. I believe is how Oprah adds on to that. So, and I have to go through that many, many times because I'm a person who is very, very big. My core values are authenticity, transparency, and truth, and loyalty. And so I want to give people the benefit of the doubt a lot of the times, and I should believe them the first time.
We do. I have a problem with that.
That's a lot harder.
My co-fed is about the same as yours, and so I'm listening to you. I'm like, well, maybe this might be my problem too.
Yes,
because we tried it. I think a lot of it with me is because I'm very compassionate. I have a lot of compassion for people. And I'm like you, I try to give people the benefit of that and say, well, I do see this in them, but maybe. And then we're the ones getting our heart broken, a headache,
all the time,
frustrated, and they're going on about their business.
High blood pressure, weight gain. We go through trials and tribulations of trying to let them be better. And honestly, if we're truthful to ourselves, they could be being the best that they can be. But in our minds, we have a different reality.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. And so it's like we kind of have to You know, my main reason I feel like I'm that way with people is because I don't like to judge people.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
I understand judgment.
Mhm.
But it's hard sometimes because you want so much better for people, and they could be at their best.
And just on the number you said better for people. I know you said you had domestic violence.
Yes.
You had homelessness. As a single, as raising your kids as a single mom. So what was it that sparked? What was the spark that made you say to yourself that God has better for you?
That's a very good question. I feel like, let's see. Let's go back to the bread pan hitting the floor on that dreaded night.
Okay.
And me trying to understand why this toast sitting on the stove was such an issue when I have just recently bore you our fourth child. She's only 6 months old. I have left the corporate job to be the one who runs the household now. And I'm home all day with 2 under 2 and 2 teen boys. And I'm making sure they're getting to and fro, and even with before and after school. And I'm going through all of this, and we get into this altercation over toast on the stove. And I'm like, really? And so I leave the kitchen and I go into the bedroom because my mind is like, just retreat. This is going to wake up and be a new day. And things get even worse with the raised voices and things like that. And I'm just not understanding why this is the way it is, because I know I've given up so much to be at home, knowing what my aspirations were and things that I wanted to do and just not understanding. And so that situation really made me go, why? Like, I know what I'm giving up to do this. Why is this happening? And so that's when I really believe the why started. Like, why is this happening? Why are we going through this? So that question, me actually questioning, and it wasn't that I was questioning God. I was really just questioning the universe itself. Like, why is this going on?
Absolutely.
Because for the longest time, I've understood that what you want from people, you have to demand for them, is what I was thinking. And truly, that's not it. You get in life not what you deserve. You get in life really who you are and what you demand, as well as what you accept. And so I had not realized how long I had been accepting that for it to escalate. And then when you get into that position, you do begin to think back, oh, wow, yeah, that happened. So that could have been, you know, what trigger. Right. You go back through it and you realize this really isn't the first time this has shown its head. And so when you actually become aware, then you know you have to make different decisions. And I believe me just trying to understand everything that I had been given up and being put in that position made me start asking why. And, you know, they say when the student is ready, the teacher shows up, and when the teacher is ready, the student shows up. And I felt like when I started asking those questions is when answers started being revealed to me. And honestly, that's when I started my entrepreneurship journey, because I knew having 4 kids, there was no way, having left corporate America, that I was going to be able to afford before school, after school, and daycare. So that meant I had to work from home. And because I love graphics, now mind you, I went to school to be a nurse, said no thank you, went on into medical terminology, was like, those words are entirely too big, and no thank you. But what was funny is I'm sitting in medical terminology class, but I'm making flyers and stuff. I already started. I'm making flyers and stuff, and so I'm retiring people on my mom's job, and I'm making their entire branding for the retirement, and I'm supposed to be in school for medical terminology. And so people kept asking me when they were seeing the design, did you go to school for this? And I went, oh, so I'm supposed to go to school for it. So here I am, still no job, went back to school, living in my mom's house, going to school, getting my degree and everything. And I did the whole cum laude, whatever, all of those are great, but I was still not making money. So now I've gone to school, got $32,000, debt, and I'm still not able to just take care of my kids. So here we are in the welfare system, and I'm still going, why? Like, why? Like, there are women who don't leave, and they aren't here today. So I left. There are women who, they give up everything, they launch out into a career, and they still don't make the money. And I'm still like, why? But what I did determine in all of that is that my kids were first. And I knew if I had to be on welfare, that's how I had to do it. If I had to live at home with my mom, and that's how I had to do it, that's just how I had to do it until I could figure out how to do better. And it was okay just to keep asking the question, why? Absolutely. Because when you ask him, he will answer you. And as long as I kept asking the question, he would keep placing the people, the purpose, the passion, the projects in front of me so that I could have an answer and keep going forward and keep stepping forward. So that really was the pivotal moment when I went, everything I've sacrificed for you, why is this happening? Right. And so the more I asked why, the more the answers came. And that was in 2005 when I left corporate America. That particular night, and let me tell you this one other thing about it that was really pivotal about it was during that time of losing my husband, within a month span of that, I lost my father. Wow. With whom I had no idea that is where my design prowess came from. I'm sitting at the service. I'm the oldest daughter, sitting at the service, at which I met my sister, my blood sister, for the first time. Okay. Yeah. As in like sitting 1 seat over from me. And while the pastor's going through the eulogy, he says to all of us, and Brother Britt, he designed these tickets for my final sermon, blah, blah, blah. So it hit you. That's where my skills. It hit me. And so you never knew before? Never knew. Oh, wow. So the pastor called me afterwards and he handed me those tickets, and I still have them to today. And I was able to understand where my design prowess came from at my father's going home service. Crazy. But losing him, turning around within months of that, losing my grandfather. So to me, that was 3 men. So at that time, my thinking was the reason I got blessed with my daughter was because I understood what the situation now was with men in my life. And I had 3 boys. So losing my husband, my father, and my grandfather, which were the 3 most important men in my life, and I had 3 boys, I feel like that's when I finally got blessed with a girl because I got it. And so that was very pivotal. So if you're in a position where you're trying to figure out and you're questioning and you're asking why, just pay attention to the signs that are around you. Ask the question and he will answer you. And just be open to pay attention to the answers that you are given, because you will be able to ascend to your next level if you're paying attention. I'm glad you said it, because a lot of times, especially people that are in ministry, Christians, you always hear, oh, you're not supposed to question God. No, like, I've always been the one like, well, why can't we? Because the people in the Bible questioned them, didn't they? And even when they prayed, Lord, why? Why have thou forsaken me? Why have thou left me? I mean, they ask the question, people say, oh, you're not supposed to. Well, how are we going to get the answer if we don't ask? Right. So it's just so great that you said, I kept asking. Why? I keep asking to today. You knew there was something better. You knew because the Bible tells us, quote scripture, he says in Jeremiah 29:11, I know the plans that I have for you. Yes. And that is the plan of good, not evil, plans to prosper, not fail. So he knows it. He knows it. We don't know it. So why can't we say, well, Lord, what plans do you have for me? Because you want your life to align with his plans. And even in what you just said, his plans are of good, right? Not of evil. So when something bad happens, you have to look at that and go, that's my reality that is bad.
Right.
What is the good that was meant by that?
Mm-hmm.
And so in losing my mom in 2017, I realized the good in that, because remember, in my mind, she's not gone. She's still at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she got her little Cabana boys and they playing Bid Whist, and all her girlfriends, they there playing Bid Whist. She's still at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
That's my reality.
Mm-hmm.
In that, it is no way I would have survived COVID quarantine with my mom.
Wow.
Woo, girl.
We sorry, Mama.
I know my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She does not like being cooped up.
Yeah. A lot of people.
I love being cooped up. Keep me at home. That's
Yeah.
why my home is so everything that it is, so I can be at home and be happy. But he means good for us.
Right.
When bad things happen.
It has to be good.
December 1st. Tragic car accident I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Just dropped my son off at work. I come home, he pulls out in front of me. My car is total.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys follow me on social media and you look at those pictures of my truck,
Yeah.
you like, how in the world did she just get up and walk out of there? You know what the good in that came? I saw my kids come together. I saw my oldest son figure out how he was going to work all day, still get his brother and sister to the bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
I saw my business partner figure out how he was going to, that night,
Oh, wow.
that night, he's in the emergency room doing our live call from his laptop,
Mhm.
from the emergency room. While I'm sitting there in a wheelchair waiting to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Our life kept going because we were determined, and we are determined to impact. We didn't even miss the car that's gone.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
didn't stop your life. It didn't stop your
Everybody
plan.
chimed in to take care of what that household needed. And it's like my household didn't skip a beat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it didn't even occur to me the car is gone. It was watching my kids and my business partner and my good friend, he's a good friend,
Mm-hmm.
come all together with my family to make sure everything kept going.
Mm-hmm.
When things happen, God means good for you. You got to figure out what the good
Right.
is.
Right. And he also tells us there's no lacking in him.
No.
So when you're in him, you weren't going to lack anything.
Yeah.
Everything was going to keep on going
Keep on going.
the way to, because of the fact you were already focused on what your good was going to be. Yes, this may have been meant for my bad, because people say, you know, what the Bible says, weapons shall form. Well, we know they're going to form, but he said they shall not prosper.
Not at all.
So we should not be afraid. We should not be, what's the word I want to say? We should not be so, I just lost my train of thought, but no, it's not negative, but a surprise when bad things happen.
Right.
Because we do know it's going to happen.
Right. And this is what, if you, how can you get a testimony?
Right, right. So we shouldn't be surprised. It's just that we ought to realize that, guess what? Yes, this may happen, but God also got something better.
Right.
God also got another plan.
Right.
It's like you said, when the bad happened, I still had to find my good.
Right.
So, because he already told us, I come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. The word more before abundantly means it's an asset.
You're already going to be abundant.
Overflow.
Yeah, you're already going to be abundant.
Right. So I don't understand, but hey, we do. There are times, even myself being a pastor, there are times that, yeah, I get to the point where I'm like, Lord, one more thing happened. And I'll get to that point where it's like, oh my God, this happened, that happened, now this happened, you know, and I'm like you now, and listening to you, I got to start looking for my good. Yes, these things have happened and they have made me feel some type of way, but now, God, I need to look for where's the good coming from. Boy, I can be transparent today that I had a situation that happened to me today, and it hurt. It was a bad situation. And I sat, but I kept right on going about my day. I was at work. I kept on working. I had to put things on Facebook to remind people about the program, the broadcast tonight. I did that. I had things I had deadlines I had to meet today as far as getting out my report. I kept right on moving. I'm like, you know what, Lord? You're going to turn this into my good. And while I sat there, by the end of the day, God, there was a blessing that came to me. But if I would have just sat there and soaked in the bad part, or sat there and felt some type of way because this has happened to me. Lord, oh my God, Lord, here we go. Something happened to me again. But I didn't. I kept focused. I kept moving. I kept going. I'm like, Lord, I'm not even going to think on it. I'm just going to keep doing my day. Whatever my daily task was, I went through my whole daily task. Right. And then the Lord said, here, because you stayed focused. Watch me do this for you. Right. And it just blew my mind. I'm like, God, I stay focused. Because the thing is, the enemy comes to distract us. Yes. And I'm sure you don't have many of distractions throughout your we're gonna get to the success part. But I really want you to understand what's her journey, because I met her doing Grandmaster, the graphic design, because I was relaunching my church. I met you through Dr. Shirley Clark. Yes. She introduced me to you. I liked what you were doing. I didn't know how to do it. It looked good. I had no clue to do any of that. But I knew I wanted my flyers to be professional. I knew I wanted a website that looked professional. I knew I wanted, a business card. It's like I wanted this image of perfection because I was representing God. Right. And it was time out of half stepping or half doing stuff. Right. So, so when I met you, that's what you were doing. And you were well at it. You're still good at it. But we were still we both was at that level. Like, look, we out here trying to hustle. We trying to get there because we had kids. Yeah. I was a single mom when I met you. Yeah. At the gas station. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I had kids. You had kids. We were both trying to hustle because we both knew that there was something better. Absolutely. In this world. It was more than what we were doing. Mm-hmm. It was more to just this. And we wanted, I know I did, I can speak for myself. I wanted my kids to look at me as a mentor, to say, look at what my mom have accomplished. And if she can do it, I can do it. Absolutely. I don't need them looking at Beyonce and Steve Harvey and basketball players and all these reality TV shows and thinking that's success. Right. I want them to look at me and to say, my mom was successful. Mm-hmm. She did that thing. She set her mind to it, and she did it. And we have because of what she did. Right. And we are here, or we're leveled up, or we have a higher launching pad. One thing I would like to say to parents who may be thinking they are not doing enough, or they may not have, I don't know, in their mind, I feel like my kids can have more. I feel like my kids could do better. Your kids are already doing better than you from jump. Right. Because of the world we live in, their exposure, technology, all of that. Your kids are already so much further ahead than you were because that's just the way of the world. That's just the advancements of the world. Okay, so stop beating yourself up that your kids don't have what is perceived they should have. Okay, your kids are already far ahead. Like we came in we laying on the kitchen floor with the longest cord in the world trying to have a quick conversation on the kitchen floor. You might take that phone, go down the hall, right? You go to every room with that cord. And what's sad is all your mama and daddy gotta do is pick up the other phone and hear everything you're saying. So now kids have their own phones, their own rooms, their own devices. They are available to, go in different areas of the house. These houses, sometimes you don't even know where kids are in your own house. So they are so much further ahead already, and they are sadly exposed to so much more than we were exposed to. So stop beating yourself up thinking that you have not done enough. That's good. As you know, I quote all the time, you are enough. And that is so many different levels of clarity for people. You are enough. Period. Right where you are, with what you have, where you're trying to go, all of that. So just stop that to begin with. And then understand, if anything in you wants better for them, if you're serious about it, if anything in you wants better for them, they will have it because you are already on your way to give it to them, setting things up, moving in that direction. They will have it. You know what I'm saying? So you can't beat yourself up by what you think. It's not real. It's not true. Right. One thing that I hate, that even as a graphic person, that we have people thinking
is that this stuff is easy. This is not easy
at all.
at all. None of it is. Parenting by yourself ain't easy.
I did not get an instruction book at all. They didn't have the little book. No, told me how to handle not one situation that I went
And
through.
even if we had, it would not have prepared us for anything that we went through. It would not have prepared us. Just know that. So this is not easy. Parenting is not easy. Ministry is not easy. Mothering is not easy. Being a woman is not easy. And let me say this to you, parents. Being a child ain't easy. Okay? So one thing that I think my kids finally got a clue is that I'm still growing up, just like them. Give me some grace, just like I give you some grace. I have my bad days too.
Absolutely.
And it's okay. Like, I think I was fearful of having a daughter because I remember how tumultuous my relationship was with my mom, especially at a teen.
Okay.
My daughter is 16 and I still don't want to strangle her. Isn't that wonderful? I don't.
Well, you're good. I still want to strangle mine, and mine is 22 years old.
Yeah, and I don't. And do you know why that is? It's because I know what I went through with my mom. And I try on every single turn not to have that relationship with her because I remember as a child what it felt like. And I forgive her because I can't imagine the relationship she had with her mom.
And the struggle she went through just being a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
So give yourself some grace, parents. Being a kid ain't easy either. Being a parent's not easy either. Being a wife, being a husband. Nothing that we do in this life right now is easy, but God didn't promise us it would be easy.
He said we should have trials and tribulations.
Exactly. How can you have a testimony without a test? Okay?
Absolutely. Well, you really went right into our next thing. I was going to ask you. You went right into it. So it flowed because my next question I was going to ask you, or we're going to say to you, is to encourage other single moms and tell them how it was a sacrifice. Like you just said, being a single mom, it's not easy. Being a wife, it's not easy. Being a husband, being a child. Because sometimes I think we think our children should just follow the instructions and that's it, and not really realize how much peer pressure they have within themselves. You know, and so that was my next thing. I'm going to say to encourage those that are out there or single moms. Like you said, you was on welfare. It's okay. Yeah, you had to live with your mom for a while. It's okay. A couple of times. If you have to do that in order to go back to school, in order to work, to make sure your children have what needs, it's okay. No one is not going to judge you because you're on welfare. What they're judging is the ones that's up there that don't need it. They don't need it and that stay on it and stay on it and don't try to be better. Right. That's where the judgment comes in from some people. Not me. I'm not going to judge anybody. But because we don't know people's situations. But the thing of it is, it's okay if those are the steps that you had to do in order to get where you needed to get to. Exactly. You know, because you had that family circle that could help with the kids, could tend to them while you pursue what you already knew that was your destiny. You already said you grew up in a home with entrepreneurs. Right. That was already instilled in you. That was your destiny. You already grew up with your father being a graphic designer. Never knew, but that was already in you. So you had to take whatever steps you had to take in order to get to your destiny. So what I would like for you to do, just encourage some of the other ones that are out there that are struggling or are feeling like they're not enough or they're not doing enough or they feeling as if it's too hard and they want to give up. So if anyone is out there that you know right now that they're doing the best they can and they're struggling, they want to give up or they feeling like I can't do anymore, I want you to tag them. I want you to make sure they come in to this live. I want you to hit them up and say, listen, you have to hear this. This is going to encourage you. This is going to uplift you. This is going to help you along your journey. Look, we're going to make mistakes. Oh, absolutely. We're going to fall. We're going to do things wrong. But the thing of it is, you got to get back up. So take the time. I want you to encourage them because even though I was a single mom, been to homelessness, been there, went through my journey, whole nother story. But you're my special guest tonight, and I do know your story. But I want people out there to really hear how you had to pick yourself up and move on. So encourage them tonight.
And I'll try not to be long-winded with it, but having gone through marriage and divorce, and marriage and divorce, and marriage and divorce, and marriage and divorce, did y'all count that? That was 4 times, twice to the same man. So understand, I was determined to make it work until I had that moment that said, I'm okay. I am enough. Me being by myself, my kids have seen me try and try, and I don't use that word lightly at all. They have seen me attempt, try, pursue marriage several times, trying to show them what I thought they should see. Now, mind you, my mom married and divorced, and married and divorced. Okay? So I didn't get the best example, right. Although I do have amazing people in my family who have been married 25, 30 plus years, stayed married, same person, all of that. But obviously I was getting it wrong. And it's okay because I was authentic with my kids. I was transparent with my kids. I was truthful with my kids. And because my passion, first and foremost, outside of being a child of God, is being the absolute best mother that I can possibly be, it didn't matter that I kept running into those obstacles. I don't call them failure. Those were obstacles each and every time. But because they knew my heart, because they know my heart, because they know what it is that I'm trying to do, I finally had to say, guys, I'm not trying anymore. I'm good. I think I got it wrong. I think I'm good with getting it wrong. I think marriage is a great institute for the people who get it right. That's just the truthfulness. It's okay for those who get it right. It's okay for me that I didn't get it right. Y'all good? I'm good. Let's keep moving. Because I don't know any other way to make it. To make it plain. You are enough. One of the things that I talk about in my You Are Enough book is, I don't know how many people realize, and I'll keep this as clean as possible, but there are over 600 million swimmers released at the time of conception. Most times, only one makes it. And that was you, or you, or me. Right. And I tell people, especially some of our culture who, can't swim, you didn't have to swim but one time. And you're here. You made it for a reason. Absolutely. You are enough. I know you're going through whatever you're going through right now. I know you're dealing with a lot on your plate. We are pivoting in this pandemic and coming up out of Rona as best that we can, right? If you are blessed to make it through, understand you have another chance. If you go to sleep tonight and you wake up tomorrow, you have another chance. Yes. If you make it from this day to the next day, whether your sleep schedule is you sleep all day and you wake up at night, you have another chance. He's still waiting on you to do what he has purposed in you to do. And the reason that you should do it is because somebody somewhere is waiting on you to do what you were purposed to do so that they can see that they can too. It's that simple. Yes. It's that simple. You have to keep going. Whether you're a person like me, who your children come first, and you're living your life as an example for them so that they can see both triumphs and they can see tribulations, they can see it, or you're a person who's out here and that's not your passion. You have a whole nother, journey that you're on or whatever. You were born for a specific reason to do a specific job. Okay? To do your specific work and to, live your specific passion and purpose. You have to get through it. And I'm not encouraging the people who say, well, What about those who are gone too soon? And what happens? They had their purpose too. Their purpose could have been for you to mention that they are gone too soon, and for it to trigger something in you to do something different. That could have been their purpose. That's so true. You don't know. But the bottom line is, if you don't wake up and realize and dig deep and figure it out and do some self-reflection and, really delve into yourself, which I do every time I have, a tribulation. What could I have done better in this situation? Until you do that, you can't go to the next level. You've really got to figure out yourself, what your issue, challenge, problem, or whatever it is, and then ask the question. How do I fix it? Where do I fix it? Who do I need to help me fix it? Who do I need to collaborate with, partner with? What else do I need to do? Who do I need to invest in? What investment do I need to make in myself? Ask the question so that he can answer you. And then be open to hear the answer so you can move to the next step. I know grown people who are stuck. Yes. Doing the same thing, being in the same situation, because they won't act on the answer that keeps showing up every single day. Like, huh? Right. Yeah. You realize you're in the same position at 40, 45, 50, and you're still going, man, how could I do something, better? But that's not really the question. Right. That's not really you asking the question, Right. So if you're still stuck, you're still in the same situation, you're still going through something, you can't figure something out, and you're really asking the question, maybe you're not asking the right question, or maybe you're not asking of the right person. Right. That's right. But the answer is going to come if you sincerely ask, because we are all here for a reason, to do whatever God's work is for our life, right. Whether you believe or not. To live on purpose. Yeah. So that's my encouragement. Whatever it is that you're stuck, struggling through, you got to ask the question, and you got to realize that if you keep waking up, the answer is there. You're not open to it. The answer's there. You're just missing it. Right. Yeah. The answer's there. And when you figure out how to get that answer, my goodness, once you get the answer, do something with it. Do something with it. Right. My previous company had a great guy in it by the name of, and he's still in that company, June Collier. And the one thing he told me was learn, implement, and teach. Once you learn it, even while you learn it sometimes, once you learn it, implement what you just learned and teach it. That's good. That's the only way you're gonna, get to the next level. Right. Learn, implement, and teach. And I struggled with the teaching part of it for the longest time, because I would go out here just teach and 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 be broke. And broke. Right. And there's a lot of us. Teach and just teach and just teach and be broke. Broke. I told you guys I started this back in 05. We in 2023. And be broke and be broke and be broke. Until I realized, standing in the middle of a conference in November of 2019, he said, let me break you free. He said, in the good word, Proverbs 11:26. And I might have it backwards. It might be 26 and 11. Y'all go look it up. Go look it up. Go look it up, because I flip it around all the time. I take it serious, but it was such an enlightening moment for me. He says, he who withholds the grain, pretty much you're going to suffer, bro. Right. But blessings be on the head of the one who sells it. I was like, oh. It opened up your whole mind, didn't it? I was like, the word is I promise you, if you got a whiff of understanding from that, and y'all need to head on over to MartinaBrittYelverton.com, find something to buy. Okay? Because I promise you, I now understand selling my word. And it's okay to sell my knowledge. Absolutely. Dr. Clark used to always tell me, because I'm like you, I would just tell
people were coming to me, how I supposed to start my church? And I was helping them with the paperwork. I was printing it and typing the information in, formed in about 501c13 when I got it. And I was giving them all the, and people out there actually are actually paying are charging people, to do this type of stuff. And so Dr. Shirley Clark always said, listen, if you don't stop, if you don't stop, she said, you got another notch in your belt. So you should be getting paid for every notch you have in your belt. She said, every notch you went to, because I know I was the dean of the school one time, and she's like, okay, Cassie, that's another notch. So when people book you, they need to pay you for your knowledge. They need to pay you for all these notches. And I'm just like, oh, I can't do that. I hate it. Like you said, still being broke. And then I look at them until my knowledge and went further than what I went.
And don't think we're not saying we weren't still abundant.
Right.
We were still making it.
Yeah.
Our kids still had clothes.
Yeah.
We weren't struggling. We knew there was more.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we only have a few minutes left. Okay. During this few minutes, I want you to talk about your products, because we talked about the tragedy, we talked about the journey, we talked about your what encouraged you, what sparked you, we talked about what inspired you. So now we come from that to your success, because I do see you as a success.
Thank you.
And like you said, it went from 2005 to 2023, but you're here.
Yes.
You may not still be where your final goal.
Oh, I still got so much.
Right, but you're definitely way beyond what you probably first put down on that first piece of paper. When you wrote your vision. So I want you to take this time. I want you to talk about the books. I want you to talk about the things that you do. I have been in some of her financial classes that you were teaching. Yeah, I'm sorry. I fell off. I'm being transparent. I fell off because sometimes stuff started coming up, and you have to try to weigh out. Okay, do I keep doing this, or and then I got frustrated. You know what I did? Because I was really trying to do it, but then I couldn't get others to see what I was seeing.
Right.
And so it discouraged me, and I can just be upfront and say that's me. But I know I see your journey, and I know what you've done. I don't know the beginning where I met you at. Like I said, we were both trying to get out and get somewhere. Right. And from that point to now, that was back in 2009 when I did my first book. So I know from there to now. So tell the people, because it's one thing for us to keep talking about it, but give them your website that they can go actually see the evidence. Give them whatever information that they need, where they can even contact you and say, listen, I'm a single mom. This not working. I've tried A, B, C, and D. Right. Can you help me?
Right.
So take the time now. I want you to go through and I'll hold the books up for you.
Okay. Well, let me do it this way. Okay. So I can talk about the journey and what needs to happen by going through the books. Okay. And so as I go through these, you can scroll down inside of the banners, Jen, and if you could go to the one that talks about the 30 days first. Okay. Along the journey, and this was the first booklet that we did. It came out as a worksheet, went from a worksheet to a pamphlet, went from a pamphlet to a little, flippity, and here we are at the actual journey. The thing about the process that you just heard me say is one of the things you try to figure out when you're on this journey is waking up every day and having a consistent routine or something. You can go somewhere out there and find out about habits and character and all the transition of what being consistent of something does. This journal is about you being consistent at something. And what I'm doing for 30 days is giving you a prompt, and you're supposed to write down your responses to the prompt. It puts you in a habitual situation, and then it's making you think. All right, so this is 30 days and 30 ways to self-improvement. You can find it at 30days.martinabrityelverton.com. And my name really is easy. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It sounds just like I said, Yelverton. Okay, 30days.martinabrityelverton.com. That's scrolling on the screen for those of you who are watching my stream, and we'll get it put into the description for Cassie. But following that, will allow you to do something consistently for 30 days. So that was self-published, okay?
I have this one. And she's right. It's good.
And then go to the youth lifestyle training. Okay. So for years, I did not understand that you can hire your kids in whatever you're doing out of your home. So whether it's, a company that teaches financial empowerment, whether it's a company that teaches you how to increase, create, multiply, and protect your income, like my company does, whether you understand that or not, what I did understand is that I can hire my kids in helping me do that. My beautiful daughter, who's taking and manning our strengths today, she's getting paid for that. I don't pay my kids an allowance. They get wages. Their timesheets. They have to enter things.
Right.
They do marketing. They do all of that for me. And I teach you how to do it in the #1 legal tax hack that we affectionately call Youth Lifestyle Training. My Youth Lifestyle Training is running the stream. I created a workbook that goes through 30 steps. Now, mind you, it's truly only 7 steps. But because I'm the dedicated person that I am, I put a workbook together to teach you every possible in, out, up, down, bank account, timesheets, anything that you can think of. I put it in the workbook, Youth Lifestyle Training. You can find that at youthlifestyletraining.com. Okay. Now, the beautiful thing about working with Dr. Cheryl Wood, let's go to Women Crushing Mediocrity. Women Crushing Mediocrity was my first speaking engagement. I was brought to speak on her platform, talking about how I've crushed mediocrity in my life. This was the first time I spoke publicly about domestic violence, okay? And along with us is about 20 or so other co-authors talking about how we crush mediocrity as well. Of course, you can find that on my website as well. But working with her opened up my eyes to how many other women are really overlooked.
Right.
And we all have stories and we can all help each other. So this was a great collaboration for me to see other women are really out here doing this. And this really sparked me wanting to speak. Okay. Coming from that into, who is that wonderful man right there on the page? Oh my Lord, Martina Britt Yelverton, speaking on the same stage with Z. Les Brown. Who knew?
I know, right?
My mom used to go and hear him speak. I have autographed books that are hers in her book, catalog and everything from him. I got an opportunity to speak with him. That is what made me understand my wealth and my worth. And again, look at all those co-authors, right? Who have their own stories and their own message about you are enough. Okay? So again, all of these can be found on my website. And then I had an opportunity to speak yet again with him and unleash your undeniable impact. And in this one, I actually talk about my little cousin. Her name is Lisa, and her being the little bundle of light skin, in our culture versus in the dark brown.
We shocked her. We just
was just shocked. When she was born, she was just this honey brown. And I was like, oh my goodness, she's gorgeous. And I just all over her, but seeing how shy she was as a child because we were all brown skinned, it was just her and her mama and Lisa that were, that butter, that beautiful complexion. And just trying to understand what that meant for me, because on my mother's side, there are a lot of fair skin, and on my father's side is where, my chocolate comes from. But I was raised older with my mom's, but as a child, younger with my dad's side. And so just understanding that and what that meant is the story that I talk about in here. And so just giving people an understanding of all these collaborations and how you can end up on stages with people like Les Brown and Dr. Cheryl Wood, and this past Wednesday, actually going to an event in DC with Dr. Cheryl Wood, where I actually got to meet Gloria Mayfield Banks. I got to meet Lisa Nichols. I got to meet Trent Shelton. That's my second time meeting him and speaking with him, and being able to listen to their full stories and understand what it is to dominate the stage was an amazing opportunity to take my daughter with me and realize I really have a voice. And it really is time for me to speak. And so, again, like I said, not being long-winded, but understand you go through being around certain people and seeing you, when you first came to me to help you with your book cover. And you trusted that journey to me. and the next one, the next website, and then the next website. And just watching you and being on that journey with you, it's amazing the people that you come in contact with, that you must cherish that time and those moments, and don't overlook them for something small.
Right.
They really do mean something in the bigger picture. And so for me, being able to publish these books and these workbooks and journals, and being able to speak, and then to be able to speak on the platform. And this was a young girl, her name is Shanine Young. And one of my besties, Stephanie J. Sanders, is a co-author in her own book as well, To Teach or Not to Teach. And, you know, the pandemic caused a lot,
Right.
you know, with our educational system. And you have teachers who are leaving the teaching forum and who are not coming back to the classroom.
They're not.
Yeah, they're not. And so this is, you know, our own stories about whether or not to stay in the classroom or leave the classroom, and even what our journey has been like and what our thoughts are about, you know, the educational system. And just, again, being able to collaborate with other, you know, men and women of my culture and outside of my culture has been a great joy, just to have a lineage of my story being out there, encouraging someone else, you know, to either take this journey on entrepreneurship or not take this journey. And I'll say to anyone trying to make that decision, make sure you inform your team before you do it. Include them the entire time that you're doing it, okay? And then check in with them along the way, because if it doesn't benefit them in the long run, you're going to lose your team. So they need to be a part of it.
Right.
And that's one thing that I think a lot of entrepreneurs do wrong. It's my dream, it's my journey. I'm gonna jump out here and I'm gonna be an entrepreneur and I'm gonna start my business and I'm gonna do it all by myself. And then you end up, it's not meant for you to do it by yourself. Okay, he may have given you the vision to get started. He may have given you the vision to embark upon that because that's what he has determined for your passion. But there's some collateral damage that can happen along the way, and you don't want your kids to be in that.
Right.
So I made sure that when I started out on this journey, what I gave my daughter for her 13th birthday was a business. I gave her her own logo based off her own drawings. I gave my son his own logo. I gave him his own business. Now, it may be a little dormant right now because they're trying to figure out what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? But you've got to include them. You've got to include them, and you've got to make it about you and about them and about the people you will impact in order for it to be a success. And one thing I wish someone would have told me before I started, this ain't easy.
No. And it's not for everyone either.
And it's not for everyone. And it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay that it's not for everyone.
That's right. Because everyone, it may not be their dream to be an entrepreneur. Some people really like working for other people.
Exactly.
That's fine. Whatever journey that God has you on, then that's fine. And you, like you said, be the best you can be. And before we go tonight, I want to leave some thoughts that you shared with us tonight. Number one, you are enough. You are enough. You are essential. You are enough at whatever stage that you're in now, whatever level that you're on. You know your worth. Know your worth. And know that you are worthy. That's what I like to say. Even because I know my worth, I also have to understand I am worthy. Yes, I'm worthy of the best. I don't have to settle. I don't have to give in because society said this is where I'm supposed to be. Right. No, you are worthy of so much more. So much more. And then don't give up. It's not easy. I have an affirmation marketing line, and that is one of them that says you can't fail if you don't quit. Right. Like right. If you don't quit, you can't fail. And so don't quit. Now you may have to make adjustments. You know, don't keep foolishly doing something that is not working. That's, insanity. But you can't fail if you don't quit. You may have to make adjustments, but don't quit. Just make adjustments. Let's do whatever minor changes you need to make. As I say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But sometimes it is broke and it does need to be fixed. So fix it. You know, don't allow it to keep going on. You know?
That's another affirmation marketing t-shirt that I have. You can't fix what you won't fix. See?
And then too, another thing you tell us is the same as the Bible tells us, train up our children as the way they shall go.
Right.
You got them doing their businesses. You're training them how to be entrepreneur. Even if they get older and decide this is not for me, but they have that skill. They have that mindset. Do that. And then you said, notify your team.
Yeah.
You know, if you're married, don't just jump up and decide you're going to quit your job and don't tell your husband.
Husband, have a business meeting.
Have a family
Wife,
meeting.
have a business meeting.
You know,
and parents have business meetings with your children.
Sit down and talk about it, discuss it. You know, say, hey, I feel like this is the direction God is leading us in. Not you, because it's not about you. Mm-hmm. It's not about by yourself. You are a team, right? And say, hey, this is what I feel like it's going to benefit us. Mm-hmm. What do y'all think? And sometimes, I remember when I first started my business was my event planning and catering business years ago when I was married. And I did it. I talked to my husband about it at the time I was married. I talked to my kids about it. But he wasn't so all into it at first. Mm-hmm. Until money started rolling in. Then all of a sudden, let me help you out. What event you got planned today? Right. You know. But talk about it. Mm-hmm. Write it out. Get your board. The plan. Yes, the Bible said write the vision and make it plain. Back it 2 and 2. Yes, that's it. They can run it. That's it. You have to have it plain. You have to have a sense of direction. You can't, as my grandma would say, out there flying by the seat of your pants. Right. You're not going to succeed.
And you can't. Oh goodness, you can't track it.
Right.
You can't track it
to see I tried this. This didn't work. Right. So now
you can't remember better than mind. Write it down. God says write the plan, so write it down.
And that's a good enough for us to end on. Write the vision, make it plain.
Yeah. So even if feel that.
Right. Even if you have to scratch some stuff out and rewrite, just keep doing it. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your story with us. You have always been an inspiration in my life, and I have told you that several times. The things that you do, your struggles, and you just keep going, and you keep doing it with a smile.
Have to,
you know, and people look at me sometimes.
Watching me. My
grandparents
watching me. I have to keep going.
Yeah, and sometimes people just say you always smiling, but if they only knew, you know. And then sometimes they tell us we have to keep smiling so we won't cry.
Right.
So just do it. Keep smiling. Keep moving forward. Keep pressing your way forward. Eventually, you are going to make it. Eventually, you are going to get to the destination that God has for you. Eventually, you will be the success, and you can be on a platform just like this, right? Telling your story to she on StreamYard, so thousands of people. I'm on Facebook Live, so how many friends I have out there. So, but do it. Just do it. Right? Just do it. But thank you again for taking the time, coming all the way from Nightdale. You're in Nightdale still?
Nightdale.
All the way from Nightdale to come here and share your success story.
I come from California. I'm so
excited, my girl. But we have cried and we have shared stuff, and it's just so. I'm telling you, it makes me feel really good. It makes my heart melt to see that you're doing it. You're doing it. I remember when you was talking about it.
Yes.
But now I'm actually seeing you, and you're sincere and you're consistent in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I pray this has really encouraged other women out there, even single men. I'm not going to exclude anybody.
Right.
I pray this has encouraged someone, has put a spark up under them that they want to move forward and do whatever it is that they wanted to do. So and then you got your daughter out here, as she said, out here in these streets. That's what
yes.
So
out here in these streets.
It's just awesome. It's awesome what you're doing. I encourage you to keep doing it. I encourage you to build even more platforms. I pray that God's blessings will continue to fall upon you. I pray that everything that God has designed for you will come and overtake you. He said your blessings will overtake you. I pray that God's blessings will overtake you. That by the time you get to your next corner, the blessings are already there waiting on you. and the others have already gone before you. I pray that your name has already been put in people's ears and into their minds before you even get there. I pray that you would travel to many states overseas, encouraging and teaching people how to come from being broke to having, to remind them that we are not to be lacking, to remind them that God has a plan for us. I pray that your children will continue to be blessed, your grandchildren, because He said the blessing shall fall.
Yes.
From you to your children to your children's children.
Yes.
And I pray that will continue to happen for you. I thank you again for coming. Thank you, Jen, for helping me with the video. And yeah, come on, get on in the picture.
Like me,
But thank you so much. You're doing your thing just like Mom. And I thank you for what you're doing. And thank you for being an encouragement to her.
Oh, all the time, every day. All the time, every day.
So,
Like the relationship that I wish I would have had more of with my mom, I just make sure I give her. And then I pray that she continues to pass it on so we can change.
Great, baby.
And your daughter and your mom, and you're such an inspiration to me as well. So I appreciate you and thank you for having me. And I'm excited to see where you're going next too. Take
Girl,
me
I'm
with you.
traveling.
Take me with you.
I'm getting on up now. I ain't staying still. But thank you all for joining us tonight. Catch 1 hour of encouragement next month, the third Monday of each month at 7:30. We have a different topic each time. I can't remember right now in August what my topic is, but it's gonna be a topic. But thank y'all so much. Look, if you missed the live, please go back and see the recording and tag, like, share. People needs to hear these encouraging words from those who have been there, done that, and is still doing it and has been successful at it. So once again, thank you, Martina, so much. Thank you, Jen, so much. Thank you all that are on Facebook Live and those that are on StreamYard. Thank you so much for joining in with us tonight. Be blessed.